And welcome back to Coast to Coast. George Norrie with you. Reverend Dr. Nicole and Mike Sebastian, known as the Dream Team, are a psychologist and sociologist. They met in a dream 3 years before meeting in the physical world. They teach people how to dream, signs, and intuition to decode messages and their mission in life for higher awareness and empowerment. We're going to start tonight's program with Nicole. We'll bring Mike in at the half, and then both for phone calls. Nicole, welcome. How are you?
Hey, George. Really good. How are you doing?
Things are great, and glad to have you with us. And Michael, and you got to tell us this incredible story, how you met him in a dream.
Oh, it's just something. Well, let me just back up a bit, and I'll say when I first saw him, it was an intuitive gut feeling. It was screaming, soulmate, 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 you're going to meet, you're going to marry each other, you've got a whole mission together. Then I actually asked Michael out, and he's twice my age at the time, okay? So everyone thought I was crazy, but we ended up, getting engaged in 90 days, married in 9 months, and now we're going on, 28 years together.
That's great.
But now Michael had the dream of meeting me 5 years prior to meeting me in the physical. I even had on the same purple outfit. I was a fitness trainer, the whole 9 yards. And then when we actually met, he had déjà vu, which is French, and it means forgotten prophecy, forgotten dream. And then the whole thing downloaded. We compared notes, and voila.
That's fantastic. It really is. How intuitive is Mike? We'll get to him next half hour, of course, but does he have that gift?
Oh, as much. Yeah, absolutely. And anyone can cultivate it, and that's the big deal. And the tools that we teach offer that. So.
And how did this all start for you and him, this arena of helping people as the Dream Team?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because that's exactly with my gut feeling, his dream, and then signs as another confirmation. We realized this is an entire methodology that people can use 24/7. It's on autopilot. Even the atheist dreams every night, George, regardless. And it just doesn't matter. It's on autopilot. Once you recognize and cultivate and you start using the tools, really it's an experiment. You have a gut feeling, you see how it turned out, and then you see what happens. Then you start building the bicep or the muscle. You get confident. Then you start relying on these tools. And through tracking your data, you realize, oh, my gosh, this is legit. This is prophecy. This is daily. This is ongoing.
Why don't we remember our dreams all the time?
Well, it takes it takes desire, number one, okay? Sometimes we remember, sometimes we don't. We usually remember the nightmares because they're so graphic. But most people disregard the old maxim, oh, honey, that's just a dream. Go back to bed. And we're brought up that way, George.
Yeah.
And really it's no, oh, my gosh, there's a dream. Let's talk about it. Let's discern or decipher the message, because it's about our daily life, and it's providing us with guidance. So it's important, but we've been trained and taught early on to forget about it. It doesn't mean anything, and I think that's a big part of it. So once you understand, oh, there's a reason, and then you follow that up, then you do start to remember.
Do you find, Nicole, that nowadays people are getting whacked out? They're just acting weird.
Oh, yes. And, being in the field, I work with clients on the regular with our business and as a psychologist. So I've been dealing, and, I've done this for 25 years, so I've seen the progression, George. I've noticed, things are not what they were. People are at a much different place. And, we could say, well, it's the Kali Yuga, okay? We could say karma is speeded up.
Mm-hmm.
It's darker than it's been, and it's heading in that direction. Long time to come. Nothing's happening tomorrow by any means. However, this is where we're headed. So people are in dire straits. Really, they need different tools, George. They need different tools. The same things don't work like they used to. You can't rely upon things like before.
That's true. You and Michael established a modern-day mystery school. What is that?
Oh, it's our favorite thing. And, we put all this under the carapace of that, of Divine Guidance Institute, Modern Day Mystery School, because, again, with a 24/7 dream science intuition for everyone, no matter what one's faith or lack thereof, and it's really about survival. Using the tools, they're ancient tools. We used to use the oracles and read the signs and all of this long time ago, even going into war and battle, and they would consult their oracle, et cetera, et cetera. And, the whole methodology is based on trust yourself, meaning it's all within. You needn't go anywhere else. And there's a certain methodology you can follow and a confirmation, a way to confirm your data.
Will it calm people down?
Oh, yes, indeed. Several. There's an actual tool we have. We call it one-step solution, one-step therapy, et cetera, et cetera. There's one tool for that, specific. But in general, the more confident you are, there's more serenity that goes along with that. The more uncertain, there's more negative energy. So it kind of goes hand in hand, George.
Interesting. How long do the mystery schools last, the curriculum?
Oh, well, it starts immediately because it's a 24/7 and it's within. So it's not like our tools, they bring awareness to, and they start cultivating it immediately. So, and it depends on how, I would say how disciplined one is, because you're going to start with the tools immediately, and we're going to share these tools on the call. So they don't need to come to us to do this, which is really cool, hence trust yourself. And get them rolling tonight on the call with the tools, and they're going to notice things. I remember I had a call or an email from one of your listeners years ago when we were on the show. I still have the email. Bottom line, he said, oh, my gosh, once I started using that hue technique, I haven't remembered a dream in 40 years, and last night I remembered a dream. We're talking 24 hours from your show using a tool.
That's fantastic. And refresh everybody about the hue.
All right. The hue is an ancient toning technique, if you will. It's a vibrational rate of certain frequency. It comes from the word human. The word human actually means God, man, or God within man. Ancient sacred word. It's in most of the texts, the Kabbalah, the Bible, the Quran. It's the Freemasons, the Masons. It's their secret word, hue. Anyhow, you simply just say hue. Hue. Out loud or silently. And that vibration takes you to a whole nother level.
How often?
Daily, 5 to 20 minutes, maybe 2 10-minute episodes a day, whatever works for you personally.
And it makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Instantly, you can feel the vibe. It shifts immediately.
It's like a tuning fork. It tunes you up.
You got it. Just like you're going to, give your car a tune-up and change the spark plugs. Exactly. That's what happens.
Truly remarkable. It is. And as a psychologist, are you seeing more anger with people?
Oh, heavens, yes. Heavens, yes. And they don't have the bandwidth they used to have. And there's a lot of self-righteousness right now, so people feel that it's valid to be mad, it's valid to be angry, and it's okay to kind of reveal where they're at. And I always say you have a right to feel how you feel and to think your thoughts, but here's where the right ends. You don't have the right to allow that to impact another human. You're entitled to do your thing, feel, etc. But to have it affect another human, that's where the dividing line. And you violate spiritual laws at that point. Create karma for yourself. All kinds of trouble.
Truly remarkable that this continues to fester out there. Is it getting worse?
Absolutely. As you see, with the crime rates, the divorce rates are up. It's pervasive. And that's why we can't wait to share the hue with your listeners tonight once again, and give them some tools so these tools are free. They can carry them with them, use them 24/7. They don't need a prescription. They don't need a psychologist or a counselor or a doctor. And that's the beauty of this stuff. No pill required, no therapist needed, and you just go to town with it. And the results speak for themselves. They'll feel it. They'll know.
In a little more than a week, we've got the autumn equinox, don't we?
Oh, we do. Next Saturday at 2:49 a.m. Eastern Time.
It should be amazing. Why do you think that's so important?
Well, here's the thing, and this is ancient doctrine. Most people don't know this. Every solstice and every equinox, we are given a snapshot of our future for the next quarter. Signs, synchronicity, coincidence proliferate at these times, and if we pay attention and know how to decode them properly, you will get a snapshot of your next quarter. I'll give you a quick example.
All right.
A friend of mine, we were living in Phoenix at the time, and she called me. Her palm tree fell over. She woke up in her front yard. The palm tree was laying on the ground. No storm occurred. She's like, "What the heck?" I said, "Your life is about to be uprooted."
Huh.
Now, 3 weeks later, her husband got a promotion, and shortly after, they moved across the country. So when you pay attention to these signs, and this is a real important key, let me just share this. How do you know there's a message? A, if it's a coincidence, okay? B, if it's something so bizarre, it catches your attention. And because it caught your attention, that's how you know, oh my gosh, there is a message here. Not simply, oh, my shoe's untied. What does that mean? No. Very practical here.
Now, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicities. I've always believed that things are happening for a reason. What's your take on that?
Yes, absolutely. We use the words interchangeably, sign, synchronicity, coincidence. Coincidence, and here's the thing with that. It's people think, oh, it's just a coincidence. And the key word is just. It's not just a coincidence. There's a meaning there. And that's why it's established as a coincidence, to catch everyone's attention, to say, hello, this is more than just an event. This is something for you to interpret, something to help you in your life. There's
no luck behind this, is there?
No, there's not. And here's a quickie. Michael, on our first date, he was walking me back to my car, and my license plate, this is when we lived in Austin, Texas, KRW, the initials on the letters on my plate, KRW. He didn't tell me at the time, those are the initials of his ex-wife, KRW. Yes, and he noticed it, and he knew, reading the signs, because that was a bizarre thing that stood out, oh my gosh, this is going to be a serious, important relationship. And then again, married, engaged in 90 and married in 9 months, so.
When you went to school to be a psychologist, did they teach you about the dream state and things like that? Or is it just textbook medical?
Let me just say this. Number one, it's an elective. It's not a mandated class. And number two, they only get into the surface level of dreams. So yes, because I took the elective, but everything I've learned, no, it's not taught at all. This has all been through 25 years of cultivating data, tracking, working with myself, Michael, and clients, and really tracking that data. Like, I had this dream, and I think it means this, and then you see how it turns out. And then you go, aha, that was exactly what I thought it meant, and this was revealed. So it's through tracking that data that you really get confident into full knowingness.
Nicole, what is the two-step method to decode a dream?
Oh, this is so awesome. It's so simple. All of your symbols are based on word association, meaning, if there's a cat in your dream, what does a cat mean to you? It's real simple. Word association with the symbols, and then what's going on in my life now? What was on my mind? What was I thinking about yesterday? And that will clue you in immediately to the accurate message for you.
When people dream about different things, like they're running but they're not going anywhere, and they're falling but they never hit, what does that mean?
running and can't get ahead, so to speak, is exactly that. You can't get ahead. You're stuck in molasses. You kind of need to reevaluate, maybe change some things within your daily regime so you can get motivated, so you can get moving. And the falling, that's most often, here's the thing, it's typically soul travel. We leave the body, and we feel like we're falling when we come back into the body. And have you ever, you've been at your desk or on a plane, and all of a sudden you kind of fall asleep, and then you jerk, and you're back awake?
You have that quick feeling of
that's
jumpiness.
That is. Soul coming back into the body, and it's a little misaligned. It's a hard landing. Boom. And St. Paul spoke of it, George, in the Bible, dying daily. And that's exactly what happens. We sleep, we dream, we leave the body every night, and you die daily. That's what happens upon death, the experience of death. That's why no one has to fear death. We do it every night, George, and it's fabulous. There's freedom and a lot of good stuff that comes with it. So,
and thank God most of us wake up, Nicole, afterwards, right? You recommend people write down their dreams. How come?
Oh, tracking that data. Everything is written, like Michael still has the dream and the journal. I could show you from 30 years ago, meeting me inwardly, in the dream. And it's only for tracking that data. And I'll tell you, this is how quick we forget. I've actually wrote down a dream in the morning, George. And then I actually went to work and came home. And then, because I always interpret my dreams later, because, you don't have time in the morning, sometimes. So I'd come back and I'd open that journal, and I wrote down a dream from a few hours ago, and I actually didn't remember that dream. That's how quick we forget. I actually remembered it, wrote it down, went a few hours past, and then forgot. That's how it's such a different vibration. That's why we write it down, number one, so it's tracked and written. We ground the energy, you ground the circuit, then you decode it, and you write that down. You give it a one-liner, you highlight it. We call it dream tracking. You come back, you flip through your journal quarterly or monthly. You'll see all the prophecy and all the knowingness that was revealed. That's how you build that confidence. And you'll see it's a whole tapestry guiding you ever so gently down your path.
Well, and you are right. If you don't write it down quickly, you do tend to forget it. Even though you remember it when you wake up, it drifts away pretty fast, doesn't it?
Oh, that different vibration, George. It's about vibrations, and it's one that's just so different from this physical reality. So it's real hard.
I had one that I should have written down a few days ago that I can't really remember anymore. But all I know is I kept dreaming that it just never ended. It was a dream that went on forever. What is that?
Well, let me ask you this. Can you remember the feeling that went with it?
I wasn't upset. It was more of feeling confused. And I just remember myself being in a vehicle and seeing all kinds of signs all over the place, street signs and stuff that didn't make any sense. Wow.
Well, you know what? I actually really feel it was a prophetic dream of this actual conversation, because we're talking all about signs. Your dream was all about signs. You were in the car traveling, and it went on and on and on, and it was showing you all the signs that we receive on a daily, ongoing basis. So if it were my dream, it would have been a prophetic snapshot of this call that we're on, and the importance of signs for you and for all of us.
Nicole, we're going to take a short break here and then come back with Michael in just a moment, and then both of you will join us for calls next hour. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Well, you just heard from Nicole Sebastian. Now you're going to hear from Mike Sebastian, the sociologist, also known as one of the members of the Dream Team. Michael, welcome back to the show. How have you been?
Hey, George. Thanks for having us on. It's always good to be on your show because I have fun on your show. That's not true of other shows, but yours, I have fun.
Well, it's always good having both of you on the show because our listeners just simply adore you two. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
So we were talking with Nicole about some dreams and stuff, and we'll get into this. But tell us again about how you met her through the dream state.
Many years ago, before I met Nicole, I had a very, very a vivid, lucid dream. And there was a girl in the dream, and she had brown eyes and blonde hair, and her name was Nicole in the dream. And it was one of those dreams that was so clear, when I woke up, I thought I should jot this down. So I actually journaled a full page of the dream. Fast forward 3 or 4 or 5 years, and I'm teaching at the university, and sociology class, and who walks into my class? The dream girl, Nicole. And in the dream, she was a personal trainer also. The details all fell into line, and they were so aligned that there was one of the local stations sent a camera crew over and interviewed us about the dream, because it was all journaled and everything. It let me know that dreams are important, and they give us a snapshot of our future.
Were you in shock when it happened?
I was in disbelief. I was actually in disbelief. Like, how could this happen years before? And here's the dream, and it's journaled. And her name was Nicole, and she wore a purple dress, and all the bells and whistles went off when it occurred. And it was really getting me ready and showing me that hey, Mike, this is your future. Pay attention. And after that, I really paid attention to dreams.
Michael, tell me the story how you and Nicole may have run into an alien.
Okay, it was at the time we've lived in a lot of different cities. We were living in Texas, Austin, Texas, and it was maybe 8 in the morning, and we had gone out to a bagel shop just to get a couple of bagels. And when we walked into the bagel shop, there was no one behind the counter, but there was a girl standing there with her back to us. And Nicole and I walked in. We were the only ones in there, and she turned around and locked eyes with us, locked gazes. And at that moment, George, for me, it was an alien, no pun intended, it was an alien experience. I'd never experienced those weird, different alien feelings inwardly. She knew instantly. I got it inwardly. Nothing was said, total silence. She knew that I knew, that Nicole knew, that she knew, that we knew, that we were all aware of each other, and we knew she was an alien. She wasn't from here. It was not anything I'd ever felt before. And also, all those little bells and red lights went off in my mind. Mm-hmm. Same little things that I was in Vietnam years ago, and it always warned me when there was a threat to me personally. And with this girl, I got that same feeling. And we stood there for maybe a minute or two, nothing said, and finally she broke off the gaze, and we turned around and walked out of the bagel shop, and Nicole said to me, alien. And I knew it right away also. And she looked like a humanoid. She looked just like you or me. But that was it. That was our first encounter with an actual alien.
Michael, did she show any emotion, any smiling or anything like that?
Nothing like that. Nope.
Just cold.
It's interesting because, if that was it, I'd start wondering, like, was it really an alien? But then a month or two went past, and we ran into another experience very similar. The manager of one of the restaurants that we love to go to, when he showed up and walked toward us to take us to our seat, same vibration, same inner vibration went off again, exactly the same as the girl. And he looked at us in the look. He knew that we knew. He looked at us like, how do you guys pick up on that? And we knew. And it was an ongoing thing there in Austin, almost. It's like the aliens live in Austin, Texas, that's for sure.
I was talking with Nicole about the hue factor to make you feel better and things like that. And tragically, yesterday was the anniversary of 9/11. And I had a statistic that showed that over 30,000 soldiers, our soldiers, have committed suicide since they were in Iraq or Afghanistan. 30,000 soldiers have committed suicide. What is going on with this kind of depression? You two have looked at this.
It's a direct effect of being in combat zones, in war zones, and being exposed to those kind of negative experiences. And when we come back, because I was in Vietnam in the infantry, actually, and I didn't think about it at the time, but when I came back, I had severe PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and a lot of flashbacks, negative dreams, nightmares, and depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. And
geez, Michael.
I used, without any medications or going to the VA or to a doc, I simply used, this is a true story, I simply used the hue. Every day I hued for 20 to 30 minutes, and all of those symptoms just started receding and eventually disappeared with the use of a vibrational tool like hue, and it put me back in harmony and really erased or eradicated the anxiety and the nightmares and the depression that came from the PTSD. And I can't tell you how many vets we work with, pro bono stuff. If they're a veteran, it's pro bono. We just work with them for free. And I can't tell you how many we've given the hue to. One guy called us. He got us on the web. I don't know where he found us. And he was suicidal. I mean, he had a gun right there with him. What do you do for someone like that? And we gave him the hue, and in a few days he called us back, and he was basically crying. He said, thank you for giving me hope again by using the hue.
That's emotional. How did you know how to use a hue system to relax the body and the mind?
The hue is an ancient system. We ran across it in readings and that we ran across long time ago, and I remember reading. It's in one of the spiritual paths. Eckankar uses hue almost exclusively, and then I was reading long time ago, 5,000 years ago, the Sphinx. The Sphinx itself wasn't called the Sphinx. The Egyptians named it hue, and all the Egyptians would gather as a society, as a people, and hue from dusk till dawn, 12 hours of hewing.
Wow.
Harmonize the vibrations. And I thought, whoa, that works. And we started trying it. And if someone tries it within a minute, inwardly you go, wow, do I feel better? It harmonizes all my vibrations.
It's like a deep breath with sound to it, isn't it?
Yes. And that's, take a deep breath or two. And when we take a deep breath, when we work with the breath, it actually shuts the mind down. And it's an excellent technique. Even the SEALs use breathing when things are really amped up or they're on a mission or an op. They take 3 or 4 deep breaths, and suddenly you're in the moment. And it works 100% of the time. And on that third breath, you start hewing, and it harmonizes our inner vibrations, puts us back in alignment. Puts us back in alignment with wellness, and we feel better again.
A lot of sports figures, people who are speaking before public groups, they all take that slow, deep breath. And to me, that's the equivalent of almost a hue, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And just a short story I'd worked with when we were living in Texas, and I was in San Antonio for a while, and I worked with one of the head sports figures, played basketball, and I won't say his name, but everybody knows him. And he was going back to school, and I gave him some counseling on a master's degree, and they assigned me to him. And he said, Mike, how am I going to do this? I've got all my endorsements. I'm playing ball, and a career and family, and I want to get my MBA. And he said, I don't think I can do it. And I gave him the hue. And you had him practice it for a minute. So, he started laughing. He said, so really, for all this that you're giving me, I'm humming. And he kind of didn't believe it. So then he went his way, and in another month he comes back for another counseling session. And I teased him when he walked in. I said, are you hewing, Hugh? And he said, not only am I hewing, the coach of our team is hewing, and all the members are hewing. And I said, are you serious? He said, it works, Mike. It works. My foul shots, I would hew and then practice foul shots. And he said, my hit rate went up dramatically because of my focus. It kept me totally focused. So, yeah, sports figures use it. It's good.
Would you recommend people do this daily?
Yes, I would. because life has become, as you've noticed, life has become so, I'd say, distracted. And
that's an understatement, Michael.
Yeah, it's almost like a mirror that's shattered into a million bits. And when we hew, it pulls the unity back together again. So I'm always kind of careful to at least do the hew for 5 or 10 minutes, preferably 20 minutes every day. And I do it silently, inwardly, even when I'm driving, to kind of keep the vibrations so stabilized or balanced, because most people on the road these days, there's a lot of rage and righteousness, and it keeps things balanced.
Well, with Nicole and Mike Sebastian, we're going to take calls with both of them next hour. Their website is linked up at coasttocoastam.com. I think your latest book is One Step Therapy. Is that right?
That's correct, George.
It's a great book, by the way, and they've been past guests on the program, and we're talking about just getting through life in a very remarkable way. Did a shaman ever help you with the hewing, or this is something you two did on your own?
This is something we found on our own, and it's kind of interesting because we've run into or known in our travels a few Native American shamans, and they were aware of the hew, and they said they used it to get present into the moment, and then to like tumble into shape. They call it shape shifting. Tumble into an experience, and shape shifting is simply going into something. In other words, not watching myself walk on the beach in my imagination, but then go into myself and look through my own eyes on the beach and hear the waves and feel the breeze. It's so they use it quite a bit also.
What is, in your opinion, déjà vu? What do you think that is?
It's and it means already having seen French, and it's having an experience outwardly that we had inwardly already. Like with the Nicole thing and dreaming of her, I had that dream, and then when I met her, I did not remember the dream right away, but I started having these déjà vus, like, wow, I feel like I've already been here before.
Yeah, I know this person.
Yes, I know this person, and she's wearing a purple dress. I'd swear I've seen that dress before, but she never wore it before. And we have these déjà vus. They're wake-up calls, really. They're basic wake-up calls for us to pay attention that we can see inwardly our life laid out before us if we're present and paying attention to the signs and intuitive feelings.
Some psychiatrists believe that déjà vu is tied into temporal lobe epilepsy. What do you think of that?
Temporal lobe epilepsy. I haven't run across that as far as I know. Maybe it is, but I wouldn't, experientially, I haven't run into it, no.
It is a bizarre feeling when you feel it coming on because you know you've been there before and you even know what the person's going to say next.
Yes, exactly. And it occurs sometimes I've had it in towns I've never been to, and we go to a new little town in a backwater somewhere, never been there in that state, maybe up in Montana, and whoa, I know what's coming around this corner. There's a shop, and it's got these purple lights, and we go around the corner, and there it is. That's a déjà vu, and I love it. It's like my wake-up call, like, hey, Mike, it's all connected, George. So, it's quantum physics, really. Everything is entangled, quantum entanglement.
Is it possible that we're living another existence in another universe or another dimension simultaneously with us that's a little out of warp from where we are now? And so what we're feeling is we're picking up on that existence a little bit?
Yes. I mean, you nailed it. That's it right there. And I call it parallel universes. And there's an infinity of parallel universes. Another way of saying it, and it for me is experiences. And when I hew or change my vibrations or frequency, I automatically change my reality. And it's a slightly different reality. And you can feel it experientially, and I'm really in a parallel universe or another. We could call it another dimension, and we can travel interdimensionally by simply shifting our frequency or vibration. and using our imagination also, inwardly seeing us wherever we want to be, on a distant planet, whatever.
Michael, by simply hewing, what will that do for us in our day-to-day living?
Oh, it goes on and on. It puts us in it by hewing. It puts us in alignment with our true self, our higher self. We're always slightly out of alignment, feeling angry, resentment, whatever's going on that particular day. By hewing, it puts us back into a state of calmness, a state of balance, to where we feel in harmony with everything. We harmonize. Literally, our frequency changes at a quantum level, at a subatomic particle level. We don't see it, but boy, we can feel it. Within 30 seconds, you will feel it in your solar plexus or gut. It's like, whoa, things have changed. I almost feel like a different person. That's because we are a different person. We've harmonized into it, really another parallel version of ourself.
Michael, we're going to take a short break and come back with Nicole and you and take phone calls next on Coast to Coast AM.